Step out. Whenever you're ready, sir.
So over the course of time during the YouTube channel, I've had a lot of Q&A with viewers and customers of mine. And all of this right here is questions and inquiries and keyword phrases of talk about this and my perspective. So this is my gospel, and I don't want you to take something that I'm regurgitating back into your gospel. It's perspective of mine. So everything that I've documented in conversation, I kind of wrote down like keyword phrases on things to elaborate on. So the first thing that I was going to talk about just in this segment is territorial boundaries on family groups of coyotes. So don't picture the coyote as a pack animal. It's family groups. Family groups typically don't play well with other family groups. Past videos that we've done, I've elaborated on this. Oh, it fell over. That's me. I'm on a cover of a book. If you have the opportunity, go on Amazon, Predator Hunting Mastery. Really, really, really good information, full of knowledge and perspective on many coyote hunters across the country. Sales pitch for that. So this little segment we're going to talk about is territorial boundaries of coyotes, how to communicate with them, how to talk with them, how to recognize those areas. So this first thing I want to elaborate on is coyotes don't own the land. They have their core area, they have home range. And the home range is going to vary on the type of habitat that the coyote actually has within its little biosphere. And that biosphere is what does that animal need to survive? So you have your core area, that's basically like the bedroom and a little bit into the kitchen, and then that kitchen gets much larger. That's their home range. Those core areas are clutch. I'm going to talk about how to find those core areas and what you're actually going to look for. So the coyotes don't own the land. You can think of it as the coyote owns their core area. That's their bedroom, that's their house, that's where they live. And then their kitchen is that expansion of home range. What does that animal need for sustainability to actually survive? So that's going to be their home range. So when you have agricultural areas, you have crops, you have hay fields, you have agriculture of cropped fields, whether it's corn or soybean, your rodent populations go up. Your vole populations go up, your rabbit populations go up, because that's a food source for that animal, which is also a food source for the predator, your fox, your bobcats, your coyotes. So all of that in a home range of a coyote, it's more increased sustainability for that family group of coyotes to survive. So when you have increased agricultural areas, you're going to have increased family groups for sustainability, and those home ranges are going to overlap a little bit. Now you get into big demographics of big hardwoods, those home ranges exponentially get larger. This is fact. This is how it works. Agricultural areas, home ranges get a little tighter. Big woods, home ranges get a little bit larger. So when you're calling as a caller, and I've brought this up before, where if I took your proficient white-tailed deer hunter and your proficient turkey hunter, your turkey hunter is going to manifest faster into a better predator hunter just from calling dynamics. When to call, when to cut distance, when to back off, when to shut up. And yeah, me as the game call builder, totally hypocritical for me to say this, sometimes silence is your best killer. Watch the animal, have some trigger discipline, and learn the animal. I like to think I'm a good teacher. The animal is the best teacher. If you have the opportunity, have some trigger discipline, watch the animal and learn from the animal. So coyotes, they defend influence. So recognizing those home ranges versus those core areas and how you're vocalizing, they're defending the influence of sound. Are they going to commit to it, or are they going to defend that audible interrogation of whatever the vocalization is? So as a prey distress sound, what was the catalyst of sound? Whether it's a rabbit distress, an e-collar with a rabbit distress with a hand call, an e-collar with a rabbit distress, a squirrel, a bird, any of that distressed animal sound, what was the catalyst for that animal to be in distress? Is it a fox? Is it a bobcat? Is it another coyote? Is it competition for that coyote that you're communicating with when you're throwing distress sounds out? Now, when you're throwing out distress sounds, don't just think for a minute, it's me playing a distressed animal. What was the catalyst for that animal to be in distress? It could be competition. So you're still going to have a lot of commitment to the downwind side so that live coyote can smell what it hears, because what was the catalyst? Is it a rabbit with just its foot stuck in a fence, or is it potentially competition? If you're vocalizing, no doubt you're a coyote doing coyote things, and that coyote hears another coyote. So they're going to defend that influence of what that audible tone is. Now, when they defend it, how close are you to that core area? Now, core areas matter way more than the acreage of land that you're hunting. So I love hunting with a little bit of snow on the ground. Nothing that I have to trudge through, nothing that's knee deep, but you call on the coyote, you shoot the coyote. Now your hand is forced to go recover the coyote. When you recover that coyote and you get to the edge of fringe of habitat, your hand was forced. You shot the coyote. You have to go out to recover that coyote. White light, flashlight. Observe the area. Where did that coyote come from? A lot of this area, especially when you recover the coyote, you can learn so much from where that coyote came from. But I kid you not, if you take the time in the daytime, middle of the day, go for a walk and go check out those areas. Where are you seeing coyotes at night? Or if you're daytime calling, go out there midday and just go for a walk and look at the habitat. Now, distinct human-made lines, whether it's a fence row or a logging path or a tractor path, a snowmobile trail, when you start to see coyote tracks coming from any compass direction perpendicular coming to that distinct line, and it's just scent marked to heck, those are distinct jurisdictional lines between family group and family group with potential overlapping home ranges. That's my house. That's my house. This is my jurisdictional border. You can kind of picture that between I have my property, my neighbor has his property, and that's our fence. You don't cross the line. You'll see a lot more clear distinction of a lot more coyote scent on those jurisdictional lines that coyotes typically don't cross. They stay on their side of the fence. They stay on their side of the fence. Find those marks. Those are great spots to call from, because you're not just communicating with one family group, you're actually communicating with multiple family groups of coyotes. So right here, where you call from determines how coyotes respond. Cut distance on that. Be very, very cognizant to your wind direction. As long as your wind is not blowing into that habitat where you think that coyote's going to be. You know, when the lights go out at nighttime and you're using, night vision or lights or thermal technology, and you can go out into the field and there's nothing in the field, go ahead and just cut distance onto those areas. You're not just communicating to one family group of coyote, you're communicating to multiple family groups of coyotes. So your increase for success is exponentially going to your chances for success is going to exponentially increase when you cut distance on those jurisdictional lines. You're going to be communicating with multiple family groups of coyotes. So calls, here's a good one. Calls from the edge get curiosity, and calls from the core get caution. So when you're communicating to coyotes on the edge, they're going to be very curious as to what that call is, regardless of what sound you're throwing at them, whether it's a hand call or an e-call, a prey distress sound, or a vocalization. Those calls from the edge, they're going to be very curious and inquisitive to what that sound is. The more you can cut distance into those home ranges, get into that. But man, when you get into those core areas, it's going to bring extreme caution from those coyotes. As long as you have a good wind direction, they're going to be very, very, very defensive on, this is my house, this is my bedroom, get out of my bedroom. And there's going to be a lot more commitment with that. So when you get into those areas, you find those areas, coaxing sounds are absolutely awesome because there's really no threat. There's a lot more commitment to it, but those chirps and those whimpers within a core area, and then just shut up and silence can be your best killer. They are going to be absolutely amazing when you find those core areas. So most hunters call blindly, and they never consider where they're intruding. Recognize those areas. I'm getting a little redundant with this, but you really have to recognize where those home ranges are, those overlaps of home ranges versus those core areas. And you can, like, that blind squirrel is going to find a nut at some point, but to increase your chances, put boots on the ground, go for a walk, especially midday. During the season, snow on the ground, look for sign, look for the coyote tracks, find the rabbitat, find those core areas, cut as much distance as you possibly can on those, put yourself within your effective range to that, call into that. That is going to increase your chances for success. And where you call from matters more than what you call with. I absolutely agree with this one. So, perspective on property and where you're actually calling from. Don't go into the same stand and get complacent and doing the same thing because that one time you were successful, you went in, you played your e-caller, you played your hand call, you were successful, and then you do the same thing with nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing. Just because it happens once doesn't mean it's going to happen again. So where you call from is really, really important on the same piece of property. Move, spread out, find that area, cut distance. You were successful once and then unsuccessful the next, half a dozen times. Something changed. You killed the isolated incident, put boots on the ground, go for a walk, go find those core areas, spend some time learning that property a little bit more. And it may just be a travel corridor where you got lucky one time and that coyote was just passing through and you were at the right place at the right time. And you really need to spend time learning those particular properties. And was it an isolated incident? Or does that property actually have the habitat to hold coyotes year round? When you recognize that, and this is going to be you, time, boots on the ground, recognizing, is this habitat that's conducive to hold coyotes all year? Go look for that sign. Otherwise, you're just wasting time. Time is money, and we spend a lot of time pursuing this animal. Put boots on the ground, go for a walk, spend some time, put in a little bit of work, and find out, does this property hold coyotes, or did I just shoot a random coyote that was passing through? Find those home ranges, find those core areas, find that congested sign. That's really, really going to increase your chances for success when you take the time to put boots on the ground and go for a walk during the day.